The NFL playoffs are finally here after a great regular season. I'm going to be predicting them. This is very just like quickly recorded. So yeah, I'm going to try to keep this short. But yeah. First game, Jaguars versus Chargers. I'm picking the Jaguars. It might seem like an upset, but not really. Everybody's picking the Jaguars to surprise them. The Chargers definitely have more talent, and I wouldn't be surprised if they won because they have Justin Herbert, and they're better where it matters most. But the thing is, the Jaguars are made for playoffs. Teams that are hot towards the end of the regular season are made for the playoffs. Trevor Lawrence is just good enough because if they had a terrible quarterback, I'd say that Justin Herbert in the playoffs, who's a super good QB, would beat off a bad Trevor Lawrence. But Trevor Lawrence is good this year. He's more than capable of competing with Justin Herbert. With how hot the Jags are, with all the injuries that the Chargers have thanks to Brandon Staley, with how much better coaching that they have, they're at home. They have a way better defense, even though I don't think the Chargers' defense is bad. I'm sorry, the Chargers are going to make too much mistakes. I had the Jaguars winning this one. Bengals and Ravens, it's the Bengals. They haven't lost since October. Their record is inflated because they lost a lot early on when they weren't as good, but now they're better. Even though they do have some injuries on the offensive line, it's a lot better than last time. Joe Burrow, I think, is one of the best QBs in the league. He's in the MVP conversation for sure. I think he's probably the third best QB this year under Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. Very good. I don't think the Ravens have a chance. They're winning that. Bills and Dolphins, of course the Bills don't. The Dolphins were close in the regular season, but they've been spiraling out of control. Without Tua, they're nothing. They have a third string. Don't think it's really going to be close. The Bills win there. Buccaneers and Cowboys. I got the Cowboys because I don't think they're as undisciplined as last year. They definitely do have problems, but they just tend to play down to the competition. And I don't think they're going to overlook the Buccaneers like they did with the 49ers because they have Tom Brady. Even though the Buccaneers are home and it is playoff Tom Brady, just because it's a playoff doesn't mean that Tom Brady's going to completely turn from a mid QB to a really good QB. He's been okay this year. Past playoff Brady's, at least he was good in the regular season, but then he turned elite in the playoffs. Unless the Buccaneers make a total transformation, the Cowboys are going to win. These are two bad coaches, but yeah. Vikings and Giants, two kind of fraudulent teams, but they're both well coached. The Vikings are home. They have a very good offense against a very good defense, but it's going to be a good matchup. Giants really good defense, Vikings really good offense. I just think the Vikings offense is better than how good the Giants defense is. They're going to win. And I think it's more likely that the Vikings score in the Giants defense than the Giants score in the Vikings defense. Because even though the Vikings defense is horrible, the Giants offense is terrible. They just run through Saquon Barkley only. Even though they did have a pretty good record in one of the best divisions in football, I don't think they can beat the Vikings. But very good coaching job. I have Brian Daboll winning Coach of the Year in my awards predictions video. You can check that out. That's more well edited than this. But yeah, 49ers Seahawks. I really enjoyed the Seahawks even though I'm a Lions fan. I wish that the Lions made it in over them. But the 49ers win here. They're way more talented. They're at home this time. Beat them in the regular season. They're just better team. Brock Purdy, even though I think it's going to cost him later because even though Brock Purdy's good, he hasn't really shown that he can be super good. Their win streak at the end, they have played against pretty easy opponents at the end. Only a couple teams with winning records that they beat on that win streak. But yeah, still very good. Bengals and Bills, I have the Bengals here. I'm going to try not to explain for too long because I tend to do that. But they were winning in the regular season, which I know doesn't mean much because it was only the first quarter. But still, this is at a neutral field. I know that the Bills are better at where it matters most because they have a better coach. They have a lot better defensive skill positions, and they have a little bit better wide receivers, just a little bit, though, and better offensive line. But I think that when it comes down to it, where the Bills are better doesn't matter as much because the Bengals are still going to be close all game. But I think down the stretch, where two teams are this close, I think the Bengals have it better because the positions that the Bills are better than the Bengals are in, they're not that much better. Like, they have a little bit better linebackers. They have a little bit better secondary, a little bit of a better defensive line. I think they're tied in terms of I think the Bengals are better at wide receiver. They have a way better offensive line. So, yeah, even though the Bills outnumber the Bengals in terms of position-by-position talent, it's only by a little bit. But where the Bengals are better, I think it makes a huge difference because if in a game this close, there's got to be a few X factors that decide the game. And I think the Bengals have those X factors, and they have those couple players that can make a difference over the Bills. And they're a more clean football team. Because I think that Joe Burrow is mistake-free, and he can't cost teams game. He's going to do good. Because if the Bengals last year, who were 10-7, beat the Chiefs last year, they were super good, and they made the Super Bowl and almost beat that super Rams team. And they're even better this year with a way better record, and they're super hot coming into the year. I think that there's no way they don't go on a run. They're way better than last year. And I think Joe Burrow is better than Josh Allen. Josh Allen's amazing, but he makes random mistakes at random times. The Bills sometimes sell out. You know how I was saying there's positions that the Bengals are way better at the Bills in? Second wide receiver, Gabe Davis is just not it. If the Bills, because like a lot of teams couldn't deal with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, well, the Bengals can match it with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. But then when it comes to the other positions, when the stars fade out, I think the Bengals have that better with T. Higgins and Boyd. They got that way better. And when it comes down to QBs, Joe Burrow's not going to make those mistakes. He's super good in the clutch. So these are two super even teams. I just think that the Bengals have more X factors because a lot of people think the Bills are going to win because they think that Bengals defense is horrible. It's not horrible. As long as if the Bengals can stay into the game and they're close in the fourth quarter, then they have the players to pull it away. Joe Burrow's going to carry them. They're going to create key turnovers. Their defensive coordinator is amazing. This is a team that hasn't lost since Halloween. They beat the Chiefs and a lot of other really good teams. The Bills are great and all, and they're going to be playing with high emotion, but they make too much mistakes, and the Bengals are better at a couple key positions, and where the Bills are stronger is not that much stronger than the Bengals. I don't know if I just made sense, but yeah, Joe Burrow is going to make a difference, and this team's going to edge out the Bills. Sorry if I spent way too long on that. Chiefs beat the Jaguars. The Jaguars are a great story. I'm pretty sure they came close to beating the Chiefs, or they beat the Chiefs in the regular season, something like that, but it's the Chiefs. Very, very good. They're secondary suspect, and they have had not that tough of a schedule, but they still win against the Jags. Eagles and Cowboys. The only way I see the Eagles doing terrible this postseason is if Jalen Hurts isn't 100%, which is very likely because against the Giants, he didn't look as good. But he was still very good. He wasn't trying as much. But yeah, this Cowboys secondary has improved a lot, but it's still very weak, and teams with weak secondaries against the Eagles can't survive because of A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and all those guys. And even with a terrible defense, you see the Eagles winning all these shootouts, even if they did have a terrible defense. But imagine a shootout offense like the Eagles, but with an elite defense. I'm sorry, I don't really think so. The Cowboys can win here. They're at home. They make a couple of key stops, and the Cowboys barely beat the Eagles earlier with Gardner Minshew that the Eagles had. I think this team randomly stalls out. The Eagles also have way better coaching. Their talent is unmatched. Jalen Hurts is back. I think this team is going to be on a roll, and they win there. 49ers and Vikings shouldn't be that hard. Vikings have a negative point differential. They're very fraudulent because they've won a lot of close games against bad teams. And unless their offense can go God mode against this great 49ers defense, I don't think they can win. Kirk Cousins is great, but I don't really think he can turn it up like Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow in here. They're going to win right there. Bengals and Chiefs. I have the Bengals again. I'm sorry. I love the Chiefs, but they haven't been a super team like the Bengals have been. Even though I think it's going to be at Arrowhead. The Bengals are going to win. They beat them in the regular season. And if I had the great Bills defense losing to the Bengals because they edged them out in a couple of positions, as long as they're close with the Bills in the fourth quarter, this is going to be very different because I know that the Chiefs have a very shootout offense, but come on, if the Chiefs offense doesn't play perfect all game, they're not going to stop the Bengals because the Bengals offense matches up really, really good with the Chiefs defense. Weak secondary, not that much pressure. When you give Joe Burrow time, you cannot stop him. And this is one of the few defensive lines that I think that the Bengals can handle. So they're going to win there, even though I do think that the Chiefs are going to put up a lot of points. They know to stop the Chiefs. The Bengals offense is going to be way too much for the Chiefs. They're going to put out their best they're going to win right there. 49ers and Eagles. I'm sorry I got the Eagles. These are two very, very evenly matched teams. And I know that their run game is going to be a problem for the Eagles. And I know that the 49ers have looked very unstoppable. But the thing is, I'm not a Brock Purdy hater. I love him. Not in a sexual way. But come on, Jalen Hurts versus Brock Purdy with teams this close, I think a lot. I had the Bengals over the Bills almost solely based on Joe Burrow. The Eagles have Jalen Hurts over Brock Purdy. Yeah, they're going to win there. And the 49ers, they've beaten a lot of good teams, even when they do have offensive mistakes because of their defense. And because of their defense, this time they're facing a good offense within the Eagles. In their offense, they've gotten a bye, they've gotten by versus a little bit of it, even if their defense slips up, they've gotten by because their offense just manages to get past with a few mistakes this year. Well, they're facing the Eagles defense. People think that the Eagles defense is scrubs. People just praise the 49ers defense. I think the Eagles defense is possibly better. And with this much of a QB mismatch, and it's not like they're terribly coached, I don't know. I just feel like another NFC Championship loss here. Super Bowl, I've got the Bengals because it's not because in an offense that stalls out this much, and this time they don't have the benefit of the doubt on not playing a superstar offense like the 49ers because I don't think Christian McCaffrey can single-handedly carry them. Brock Purdy's good, but not that good. This time, if they stall out, they got the Bengals, who's going to continue scoring, and this defense isn't scrubbed. It's not like the Eagles have won so many shootouts this year where they can even if their defense does mess up, they can keep scoring. This time they're facing a very, very well defensively coached Bengals team. The Bengals are going to win the Super Bowl, and they're going to be very, very good. So yeah, Bengals win the Super Bowl. These are just my predictions. I'm recording this Saturday morning, so if this doesn't get out in time, this is recorded before. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Check out my NFL awards predictions video. I'm going to keep uploading soon. 3 steps away from 150. See you guys, and bye. Go Lions.